Butter boards are having a bit of a moment on social media, and although I don't jump on every trend, I do like this one because it takes a simple ingredient that most of us are familiar with and it just elevates it and allows you to be really creative. So it's early fall here and there's a chill in the air, and I'm gonna test out making a butter board for Thanksgiving with a lot of familiar herbal flavors. I'll also share some thoughts on some additional cream-based boards, but more on that later. Use whatever the best butter is that you can get. I actually am using an Irish butter that is salted, but that's one thing to consider. If your butter is salted, you want to think about not adding too much salt with your additional flavors on the board. And this has been out for a bit. It's semi-soft. So while my butter has been sitting out at room temperature, but it's not 100% super soft, I like to slice it out into individual pats. It will accelerate it getting softer, but it also, I think, is a little nicer at spreading across whatever board you're using. The other thing to think about here is, are you serving your butter board on a really porous surface or not? I'm going with a little plate or tray today that is non-porous, but if you're using marble or a wooden board, you want to have something that has maybe a nice food grade sealant on it already so that you're not getting a lot of the butter fat soaking in. It's going to make it really hard to clean up later. While we're waiting for our butter to soften, let's talk about some ideas. I could see doing a breakfast style or sweeter butter board with a little bit of cinnamon sugar and maybe a drizzle of honey, maybe some crushed up candied nuts or something. That would be really fun. Think about familiar blends like a little bit of lemon zest and a lot of freshly cracked pepper, a little bit of crunchy salt over top, sun-dried tomatoes and oil, along with a little bit of fresh basil torn. The flavors that I'm testing out today for a Thanksgiving themed butter board include a lot of fresh herbs like thyme and parsley and rosemary. I have a little dried sage. I have a poultry type seasoning called Everything But the Leftovers, or any other kind of poultry seasoning would work. This is from Trader Joe's and it's awesome. I think that'll be great. I'm just gonna prep all of our fresh herbs, anything that needs a nice fine chop. I reckon about a couple teaspoons to a tablespoon of each herb. Thyme's pretty strong. I don't know if I'm gonna go for a full tablespoon here, but a good couple teaspoons. I'm gonna hold off on our parsley stems. I might use those more for decoration. I do have some chives, so why not have a little bit of onion flavor in there as well. I think that pairs really nicely with everything else. Oh, already getting a little bit of herb action on there. And I think our butter has had enough time to soften. I'm just gonna give a little test, and yeah, it's malleable. So I'm gonna spread it out now. If you have really soft butter, an offset spatula might work very well here. I happen to have a butter spreader, just easing it out. I still want to keep it probably about 1/4 of an inch thick, but I want it to have sort of a nicer pattern, and I'm going to merge all of these butter pats really into one more cohesive looking mass of butter, like the top of decorating a cake. So I'm making some nice ripples and ridges. Well, that's a lot of butter. I think one of the points I would make is you don't want to really see the plate. You want to keep that butter thick enough so you're not going through the plate before you start to serve this. And now I want to think about layering our flavors. If there's anything that's dried or maybe a little bit salty, I want to put that on the base of the butter so that the oils from the butter can really activate any of those flavorings. And this one from Trader Joe's called Everything But the Leftovers. It's a seasoning blend that really reminds me of Thanksgiving, but you could also use a poultry seasoning if you can't get a hold of this. And I'm just going to do a light sprinkle across the top because there is a bit of salt in this, along with some dried herbs, a bit of dried sage here that's already ground up, really from a height so you get an even distribution. Pepper would be nice here at this moment. Fresh lemon zest, sort of that acid to all of the saltiness and the freshness. And I'm doing it right over the board so any of the oils of the lemon fall in. That's looking really good, and our butter keeps disappearing just a little bit more. I really love how this board looks right now. This definitely is probably a to-do for Thanksgiving. I mean, we're already unbuttoning our belts and adding a little bit to our waistline. Why not eat a stick of butter? I like the decoration of the parsley down the center. This is a flat leaf parsley. Well, hello, my first Thanksgiving butter board. So it's obvious you're probably going to serve your butter board with toast or crusty bread, but why not some baby boiled yellow potatoes? I think it's unexpected And, you know, potatoes and butter, how can you go wrong? Yeah, that is good. Such a great idea. I'm so excited to make this for Thanksgiving. Oh yeah. If you like the idea of a butterboard, but it sounds maybe a little too decadent, I like to think about the OG spread that I grew up with, and that is cream cheese. So I'm gonna make a little board with that. I've had about 4 ounces of cream cheese softening. It's actually pretty soft, so I'm gonna forego the butter pat idea. I think that's looking pretty good right there. Now, I consider cream cheese my old school favorite spread because I grew up with it. Whether that would be a cheese ball at the holidays, on Friday nights, one of the special things we would do is cover a block of cream cheese with taco sauce or just jarred salsa and serve it with tortilla chips, and that was awesome. But I'm thinking more breakfasty today, so I'm gonna add a couple of special elements along with a seasoning blend that I see at a lot of major retailers now, and that is everything bagel seasoning. Delicious. I'm adding a little salt, sugar, and a splash of white vinegar into a small bowl here. Just gonna make a little bit of pickled red onion because I think that would look really good. Just a few pieces. I think that'll be a nice topping over our cream cheese. While our red onion has been pickling, I toasted up some bagel bites, just a regular bagel that I cut into rounds and threw in the toaster. I think it keeps with our breakfast theme. Okay, let's assemble our cream cheese board. I'm gonna start with our everything bagel seasoning. It has some salt in it as well, but lots of little pieces of dried onion and garlic, and I'm not afraid to use a lot because it's so good. So I have some capers that I'm just gonna scatter across the top, just randomly. Red onion has really brightened in color, and I think it's softened, and I think just a few of those scattered along as well. I'm gonna drain off sort of the pickly liquid. Well, that looks terrific. Those little bagel chips in our everything bagel cream cheese board. This could be good with little bits of smoked salmon as well. Yummo. Oh yeah. Those are some great flavors. I think the pickliness and the brininess really bring up that cream cheese. The OG board spread cream cheese. Try it out. That's good. If you like the idea of butter boards, but you're really looking for something non-dairy, vegetarian, or vegan, why not a cashew butter board? I've been soaking about a cup of raw cashews overnight in water, so they're very soft right now. So I'm just gonna drain off the water that our cashews were soaking in overnight. It's done its job. And so now I'm gonna place our cashews in a food processor. I'm gonna add about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and just a splash of water to get it going. I've continued to add just a little bit more water until I got a really creamy-like consistency. It has some good body and thickness to it, but not necessarily a pourable cream. I think this will be a great dip style consistency. Meow meow. Are you gonna help? Oh, I love the sort of fluffy texture. I'm just gonna ease our cashew cream out to the edges of our little plate. Okay, for our cashew butter or cashew cream board that we're doing, I've raided the fridge and the pantry for a few other non-dairy vegan type items that'll give us a little bit of sweet and sour and crunch. I think it'll pair great with that fatty richness of the cashew cream. I'm gonna start with a little bit of ground sumac. I love the color and it has that nice sourness like lemon. I think it'll be a good counterpoint. Mild and sweet peppers. I'm just gonna throw a few strands of those across. And then I think we need a little bit of crunch, so I happen to have some sunflower seeds, but I think this will add a really nice crunchy texture to whatever we decide to dip in this. I'm actually thinking pita would be great, maybe even some tortilla chips, just to change it up. I had some chives from the garden, fresh oniony hit, a little cashew butter board, or cashew cream, and I think with a few tortilla chips could be nice. I'm excited to dig into this one. Little cashew cream, Make sure I get a pepper that is a decent bite. That sweet, that sour, that little bit of crunch from the sunflower seed. Such a nice option. Make a cashew cream board. So which board is for you? The traditional butter board loaded with herbs, a cream cheese board, great for breakfast with all of your favorite bagel toppings, or a cashew butter board for your perfect vegan or non-dairy option, or make them all. Oh, I need to call over some friends. Oh, that's good. Butter board are using what I'm using today. Little gnat. And so what I'm gonna, there it is. What I'm using today to really mock up our Thanksgiving to test out. Okay, let's think about that one more time. You don't need to explain. Okay. With our favorite taco sauce or jol. Meow meow. You have a lot to say about cashew cream. From the sesame seed. It's not sesame seed, that's sunflower seed. Oh yeah, leftovers makes really good compound butter. Fry an egg in it. Ah, broke the yolk, drat.